righty, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Hello and welcome into another episode. It's another week and another edition of Clark After Dark right here, live and direct. You guessed it, we're live on RaceON.com. Not necessarily live. I actually had somebody send me a message earlier today and said, hey, when's that podcast going to be live? And I think every couple of weeks I get a message from somebody that says, hey, what time's the podcast going to be live tonight? I'm like, buddy, we've only been live once or twice in the whole 99-year history, or the 99-episode history of CAD. But here we are, ready to rock and roll once again tonight. Happy to have my good friend Cortland Smith on me once again here tonight. Folks, and I've had people ask me lately, Zach, where are the guests at? Well, they're not here. I would love to have guests back on this podcast, but with that transition we had, it was just a little bit easier these last couple of weeks to just kind of get things kind of figured out on my own, to kind of prove to myself, which I knew I could do this podcast and hit the record button every week. And now that I've figured all this out, then we'll go to the next step and I'll bring some guests on in the future. Because to be honest, I would. There were several drivers that I would have loved to have on this week to talk about it. But again, the weekends end quickly and we move on to the next week quickly. And sometimes just kind of run out of time before I can reach out to a driver. And I really don't like to bother them on Sundays. But I do intend to have many more guests into the future of Clark After Dark. So y'all hold serve with that. But hopefully Cortland and I are doing a good enough job and you guys aren't ready to jump ship yet because we don't have drivers on the podcast every single week. Like, of course, in the off season, we had quite a few of them. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. And do want to thank all of you great folks for being here to enjoy this episode number 99 of Clark After Dark with us. One away from a Bilski, one away from a Hunsky. I can believe it, actually. Whenever I sat down and decided that I wanted to do this podcast, I said that it's something that I'm going to stay committed to, and it's something that I want to do every single week. And I'll be honest with you folks, and I'll bring Cortland in on this. Cortland Smith will join me now. Cortland, I think you would agree. Like, there are definitely some weeks, right? Like, you know, when you were coaching football, I mean, there's weeks like we love talking racing. That's never the issue with you and I, right? It's just sometimes, like, you know, right now we're recording this podcast at 9:30 p.m. You know, on a Tuesday night, and that's not necessarily up a lot of people's wheelhouse. Heck, I don't even like having you up this late because you have to get up early in the morning. But there are some days, man, where we come here and, like, we're not dragging or we're not, like, not looking forward to it. We always look forward to talking racing with one another. There's just some weeks that feel a little bit better than others, right?
100%. There's always some weeks feel a little bit better than others. And this is one of those weeks that you get really excited about, right? But, yeah, man, to roll up on 100 is for asking me to join in on the ride.
Go ahead. I clicked the button. See, that's what happens. ZC just accidentally hit a button there, but I think we're good. Sorry.
Okay. Either way, yeah, you know, like I was saying, this is one of them weeks that you can really get excited for, right? And be fired up about coming up here because we got a big weekend ahead of us. But yeah, you know, I still say it's crazy that you asked me to join in on this ride here, and to almost make 100 is really, really crazy. I'm blessed to be able to do this every week with you, man. Like you said, some weekends, there's been a couple nights, whether it was my schedule, your schedule, whatever it may be, we might have been firing this baby off about 10:30 instead of 9:30. You know what I'm saying? So yes, it is, man. It is always it's very, very happy to always jump in here and talk racing with you. And like you said, some weeks you kind of power through, and some people are like, well, what do you mean you power through? Well, you come here and when, you know, we text back and forth or talk, and it's like, you know, you can sit here and repeat the same stuff over and over and try to come up with new stuff. And sometimes, like, your brain just gets brain fog. I guess that's what I say. You get brain fog on it, and you try to sit there and think of what's something new, what's something exciting that we can do. You know, you can kind of get in a rut sometimes of doing the same things over and over. You know, like you said, we'll get to the guest and stuff here, you know, in quick order. It will come. We'll get back to rolling and strolling on all 8 cylinders. But man, just blessed to be able to do this with you. The episode 100 is going to be really, you know, it's going to be really cool to reach something like that. You know, when you look at milestones and stuff like that, to sit here and think for essentially 2 straight years, almost every single week, you sat down, and for the last at least year and a half, we've sat down together every single week and talked racing, and it's all because of the fans, right? Like at some point, if this thing didn't have people talking about it, we'd both look at each other and be like, man, like we might be wasting about 3 hours of our time, but we do enjoy talking racing. We probably still do this in some shape or fashion anyway, but it is because of the people, man. And every single time I go to the racetrack, I hear somebody else that I had no idea that listens to it. They come up to me and we start talking about racing because of this. And heck, I met a dude at a professional development at a teaching class that we went to. He's like, you're Cortland Smith, ain't you? And I was like, yeah, I guess so. Like, is this good or bad? He goes, man, I listen to you every week on RaceON, man. Like, you're awesome. I love that Clark After Dark. I watch you on the races. I'm like, and that makes you feel like we are doing something pretty cool here. And it ain't because of me, and it's not because of you, it's because of the fans and everybody that supports us, man. We really do appreciate it. But like I said, we got a big weekend ahead of us. We had a lot of great racing action this past weekend, and we can get into all that.
Yeah, I'm not one of them people that comes here and tells, I mean, I guess you could say that I'm a public figure in the racing industry, right? I've been doing this for almost 20 years, Cortland. So, I mean, yeah, people are going to put a name to the face, and they probably see me at a lot of these racetracks over the years. But I was rolling through Chicken Express, which, hey, I'm a frequent flyer at the old Chicken E, okay? They sponsor 67. Their sweet tea's delicious, but they do have damn good chicken, too. I'm just going to throw that out there right now. And they also sponsor Colby Moore Racing, Jarrett Bransom, right? The number 28 or 2 super late model there. So they do a lot. They give back and support racing, too. But anyway, I was rolling through Chicken E last week, and I rolled up to get my food, and the dude gave me my food. He's like, hey, I had my RaceON hat on. He goes, hey, you're Zach Clark. And I said, hey, I sure am. What's your name? And anyway, his name was Tony. And I said, all right then, Tony. He said, I watch you every week. I said, damn, that's pretty cool. I said, I'd have never guessed it. Like, honestly, I come there all the time. I'd have never guessed this guy was a race fan. So that kind of stuff does make me feel good. And it kind of makes me feel as if when I come here, and I do spend a little bit of time every week, that, yeah, guys do. Because, like, if you just, I've talked about this too, but if you look at just the YouTube numbers, you would think, oh, man, they ain't even getting 100 listeners. Last week's YouTube clip had like 200 listeners. Like, I know my target audience here. I'm not expecting ever to pull YouTube up and see over 1,500 or 15,000 listeners on this pod. Like, we know what our core and our target audience is, right? Like, generally around the architects. But I do have people that listen to us up in Kentucky. JT's Trackside Catering. Shout out to my boy JT. Doing a phenomenal job up there. Just catered for the National Dirt Late Model Hall of Fame a couple of weeks ago. Big sponsor of the 32 for Bobby Pierce. Of course, Pierce just won another one at the Hawkeye 100 at Maquoketa Speedway this past Saturday night. He broke the all-time wins record with the World of Outlaws. I didn't have a long spill or intro this week either. To be honest, Cortland, I just don't have any notes. Like, we're winging this baby from the jump, okay?
From the hip and from the heart.
But if I were to give you guys a long intro tonight, I would have told you it's King of the Hill week. We are King of the Hill. I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, at the top of the boot at the Boot Hill Speedway is the place to be here this Thursday through Saturday night. Friday and Saturday, really. Thursday night's a practice night. I posted on Facebook a little bit earlier. This event has averaged over 100 cars since the inception of it, right? Marcus Caudill won the first ever one, and Taylor Carver won it in 2016 in a station wagon. Just think about our first 3 winners of this race and how cool that was. Marcus Caudill won the first one. Taylor Carver won the second one in a station wagon. And Derek Grigsby, the 12-time LSDTC winner now, won it driving for Joel Ball back in 2017. Your first 3 just winners of this race, pretty cool. Like, that's a pretty eclectic mix. Grigsby, Carver, and Caudill. How about that?
Really cool. And to sit there and think of each one has their own little story behind it, right? Derek Grigsby in a car and didn't necessarily drive a whole lot. The wagon goes out there and gets the job done. And Marcus Caudill, this race, and you talk about that and you go all the way back to the first one we had. Like, this is the race. And maybe I wanted to save this for later, but when we talked about it, but this was the race that changed factory stocks for what we have now. And of course, the original OG Cajun Classic, you can't forget about it. Like that was the OG original gangster. But whenever you threw this 5-figure payday and 10 grand was getting paid way back when, this was the race that, I'm not saying justified $30,000 factory stocks, but it made you feel a little bit easier about spending that much money on a factory stock because you knew at least once a year you're going to get to race for 10K, right? So this was, this is when we look back in 20 years, we know however long it may be, however long the good Lord lets me be on this earth, when we look back and we talk about factory stock racing and the race or the time that changed it. And it was the King of the Hill. It was $10,000, 5-figure payday. Up until about 2 years ago, this is what National Tour late model racers would drive all the way across the country to race for. It was 10K, right? Like, there's a lot of dudes that drive many miles up and down the road racing late models for 7,500, and we're getting to race for $10,000 for factory stocks. And it's kind of the same spill that we talked about with the Spring Nationals, right? But like, when we go back to the original King of the Hill, that $10,000, like, could you imagine if we could, I wish we had enough interviews and enough content and everything recorded to get what people were saying then to see what they say now about it, right? Like, just to see the difference between it all and to see how it really all played out. And it is really, really cool.
I just lost Cortland there. I'm not sure. He'll probably pop back here in just a second. Hopefully it's not my internet. I'm not really sure here, but if that was the case, then he'll hop out and he'll hop back in. That's one of the deals when you record a podcast. You just never know if your internet's going to work good for you or what may be the case. So Um, there he is. He's back now. So,
Dang.
yeah, it bees like that sometimes. See, this is what happens in real time. Like if we'd have been live, that's what would have happened this week, you know. So we might go live next week.
I can't believe I dropped out.
It happens, man. Hey, that's something you deal with, man. It's internet, right? Like if we'd have
Yeah.
known that was going to happen, we would have tried to prepare. But then what would you do to prepare? You do nothing because you just don't know when the internet's going to rear its ugly head. You know what I mean?
around.
Like you do nothing. So yeah, the first two are pretty cool. And then after that, Justin Whitehead was the first driver in this event's history to go back to back. He won it in 2018 and won it in 2019, and then Neil Kemp won it in 2020. Kyle Cummings got it done. Justin Whitehead then won it again in 22. Neil Kemp got it done again. So you look at those, it's Whitehead, Kemp, Cummings, Whitehead, and Kemp again. Like those couple of years, kind of, yeah, the factory stock class, like the guys who had figured those asphalt pull-off slick tires out at that time were the cream of the crop, right? And these last couple of years, Cortland, we've been able to groove and sipe these tires. And in my opinion, I think coming into this week in Cortland, this is the most wide open it's been. Yes, Jeffrey Abbey has been dominant. He won the 30K. He just won at Boot Hill and got the broom out, won the stock car feature there a couple of weeks ago, and he won the factory stock. So I think coming into this race, Jeffrey Abbey has to be the favorite, right? But Mark Underwood Jr. come in and won this race in 2024, and Cody Smith won it last year. Anything's a possibility coming into this race. But I'm sure you would agree that Jeffrey Abbey coming in right now, based off of his resume and what he's accomplished at Boot Hill this year, and coming into the 30K this year, we were saying Joshua Martin may have been the number one contender coming in. Would you say Jeffrey Abbey is the number one contender coming into this event? Or is it Dustin Hennigan? Or is it Whitehead? Or is it Kemp? Or is it Underwood? Who is it, Cortland Smith?
Kind of going to go back. I'm going to stay true to what I said a couple weeks ago after Jeffrey Abbey won at Boot Hill. You know, the king of the hill. Essentially, if you're a betting man, and if Vegas had odds at some point, that you're going to have to roll. You're going to roll through that H237. Like it is what it is. You know, is there a lot of great competitors? Are there a lot of great competitors? Heck yeah. I mean, this is an absolute cutthroat field. You know what I mean? Like there is not a single, when that 25 car field rolls out on Saturday, any single one of those dudes can win it. No doubt about it. But just the speed that Abbey's had all year, and rolling into Boot Hill the last time they raced and picking up the win there, it's one of those deals where you know that you got to roll through that H237 car at some point in time this weekend to win it. And it is what it is, man. Whenever everything's rolling good, confidence is high. Win 30K earlier this year. Now it's, you know, the stress of winning that big factory stock race at Boot Hill is gone. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying that he doesn't want to win the King of the Hill, but you've already gone out and won a big money payday. Like you've checked the box for 2026 of, all right, I've won a big paying factory stock race. Like I've proved my worth and my value in this class and that I can get it done. And then you roll in there, and after what he done at the Triple Crown race, makeup race, and just the speed that car's had all year, it really is going to be one that's tough. But don't sleep on, man, Neil Kemp, that Club 20 car, when that thing, I'm telling you, man, it's you know, we can talk about all those guys, you know, the cream of the crop in this deal. You got your 10, 15 dudes that you could make a heck of a list about.
I was gonna say I'm gonna name 10 right here, but when we get to 10 is when we start our debate, okay? And like some of that, because I think that there's 9 or 10, there's 9 guys that's unequivocal. Like you know that they're gonna be in contention, right? It's Jeffrey Abbey number one, and these are necessarily in no order, but Jeffrey Abbey's number one. We just put that out there that he's probably the number one contender coming into this race. He won the 30K. He won the most recent factory stock race at Boot Hill. There, that's done. Neil Kemp, I don't know if he's 2, but Dalton Faulkner, who's never won the King of the Hill, you got to have him in your top 5 just based off of his resume alone and how well he does run at Boot Hill despite having never won this race. Justin Whitehead's a 3-time King of the Hill winner. Cody Smith's the reigning winner of the event. I've got Dalton Dubois in my top 7 right now. Dalton Dubois has been digging. He just won down at Manny a couple weekends ago, an extra money pay. It was a good win for digging, and I think the 55 is coming ready to roll in that Cadillac chassis. Got the 2024 King of the Hill, Mark Underwood Jr., and despite Josh Martin's troubles here as of late, right, his last couple of starts at Boot Hill haven't necessarily gone the 88M's way, but you still, I think, having started off, he's won 6 races this year. I think you have to put Josh Martin right now still in your top 10. And this is when things get a little tricky. I've got Derek Grigsby right there in my top 10 right now. Why do I have Derek Grigsby? Because he won the 2017 King of the Hill, and he has a very fast Cadillac chassis. He transferred in. He made the 30K. He made the 10K last year. No reason to believe the 12-time LSDTC winner could win this race, right? Like, he could go and shock the world, and nobody would have him on the radar. Not one person on my Facebook post put Derek Grigsby's name into the mix. And that's silly to me. Like,
it's
right,
funny.
Cortland?
I mean, I had him scheduled in. I put dark horse, but not really 69 because
Yeah.
nobody's talking about him. And this is exactly the time that 69 can strike. And the Cadillac chassis have obviously proven they can roll around Boot Hill Speedway pretty good, my friend. And there's speed in those cars once you get them figured out. And for the 69 to not even be in conversation is really kind of, it's not crazy. It just tells you how good of the field that we have in this class, and that's going to be at this race.
Absolutely agreed. And I think a lot of that too is Cortland. I think a lot of people may not know that he's even racing it still. Like a lot of people might be wondering, does Derek even still have a factory stock? Well, yes, he does. And he's coming to win 10 grand this weekend. It would be the second King of the Hill triumph of his career if he can get the job done. All right, this is where the waters get a little muddy right here. I've got Dustin Hennigan right here. I'm not putting him necessarily in the ninth hole because you could put Hennigan either ninth, 1, 2, 3, or 4. Like I said, this is in no particular order. All of these guys are very well respected and have a nice resume. Hennigan's the inaugural $30,000 Spring Nationals winner, and he just won at Boot Hill recently in the B mod, so he knows how to get around Boot Hill Speedway. He has 3 wins in 2026 in 3 different race cars and 3 different classes this year. But this is where it's interesting. The debate is, and you could tell me, do you put Vic Case after winning at Arklatex last Saturday and winning at Boot Hill in their second to last most recent event? He won the race before Jeffrey Abbey just won. So Vic Case, who's got 2 wins around here this season, has been really, really fast. Does Vic Case take that 10 spot away as far as just the top 10 contenders coming into this race? Does he take that one away from Jamie Burford? I've got Vic Case, Jamie Burford side by side right there. Who gets that nod right there in your estimate?
Man, I got to give it to Vic, and I'm just one to go back off of results. Like, who's won at Boot Hill Speedway this year? Like, and we talk about how prestigious it is to win in a factory stock or win in any class at Boot Hill Speedway. Well, Vic Case has done that. Has Jamie Burford shown a lot of speed in that ride? Yes, he has. And is he a guy right there? Like you said, that there's a reason there's a debate is because JB is fast in that car. But for right now, coming off a win at Arklatex, winning at Boot Hill, I mean, you got to put Vic Case out there, and we all know that J27 can roll around there on, back when they used to do qualifying, and then you put Vic Case out there on 2 heat races, and you never know what can happen, right? And I got to roll with Vic Case on this one. My boy JB, he might poke some fun at me this week because I took Vic Case over him, but it's all fun and games, people. Don't get your feelings too tied up in this. We're just shooting the bull here at this point.
Here's some more drivers for you, Cortland. All right, we're just having fun here, right? Here's some more drivers who have wins this year and that are always fast but haven't always had the best of luck at Boot Hill and big money shows. These drivers are Craig Pursley Jr. How about Boone Evans for you? How about Colby Mewborn or a Brett Frazier in the F1 car? I'm not sure what car he'll drive or if he even races at all. If Brett doesn't have a super late model race somewhere, I'm sure he'll be in contention this week. Mason Martin, who has been super fast here lately. I think Mason Martin could win this race. I really do. I really believe Mason Martin can win the King of the Hill, and I think he's coming in trying to prove that to everybody that he's that dude. Dakota Wyatt, he's been top qualifier in the Battle of Boot Hill multiple times in his career. Dakota Wyatt will have the 15X car humming. White Lightning's coming for broke this weekend. CJ Howell, okay, I don't mean to word it this way, but what has happened to CJ Howell? I know he hasn't driven the factory stock as much, and Rodney's flipped his old 2 car twice in the last 2 weeks. And I don't know how. I need to give CJ a call and just kind of see what's going on. I'm sure he's got a advanced performance engine and a Force chassis he's going to get ready to roll to this weekend. But yeah, I mean, CJ, you got Chase Hatton, former Cajun Classic winner. How about the Super Run extraordinaire, Tommy Williams Jr.? He loves Boot Hill Speedway. Tommy Williams Jr. would just love to come to Greenwood, Louisiana and have a good heat race performance and not bury himself in the soup, right? If Tommy Williams Jr. can qualify good for this race, and he doesn't have to pass 170 cars to get in contention, give the 151 a shot to win this race as well. And Josh Daugherty, who's finished top 5, his consistency factor hasn't necessarily been there, Cortland, for me. Or I'm going to say for me. He drove the 10X car this past weekend, scored a 5th at Arklatex, but the car just didn't quite have the speed that I think he wanted. I did talk to Josh over there in the pits, but we didn't get into the details whether he'd be back in the 34 Junior, but I do expect him to be back in the Baby Blue Bayou Country Contractors 34 Junior. But that's just a list of guys, like you talked about it. The competition of this deal, yes, and we're talking factory stocks. The factory stock division here in the Arklatex is one of the most competitive classes anywhere in the country. So when Cortland and I come to this podcast and we're breaking it down, the nuts and bolts, is because this is a big deal around here for us. I know it's not super late models. I know it's not necessarily A mods. It's not B mods. And some people off, and I get this all the time. I was just at Lucas Oil Speedway a few weeks ago, and somebody that I think very highly of said, why are you don't getting any more modified races down? And I agree with him. Like, I'd love to see some more mod races down here. Don't get it twisted. He said, y'all just want to pay all that damn money to the damn factory stocks. And I look at this two different ways, Cortland. It's like, yes, I could look at it in that manner as well and say we need to share the wealth and give. But when you average over 100 cars at one event, you have to keep doing what you're doing. This event has been rolling strong since 2015. Like you said, when Marcus Caudill won it for the first time, he came from 8th and got it done in a car he had never driven prior to that weekend. And it was just kind of a Cinderella story, right? And everybody knows Marcus Caudill's story since then. He calls his race car now his fishing boat. He used that opportunity for when he won that first ever King of the Hill as his opportunity to turn his life into a testimony to help change people's lives. It is one of my most favorite things that has happened in local Arklatex area racing. Like, if you never just talked to Marcus Caudill about that and how the Lord entered his life and blessed him around that time, he didn't just want to win that race. He needed to win that race at the time. And it is a really awesome story, but every year is always seemingly a cool story. You can reach in and you can find something to talk about in every single one of these. Just depends on how much you care about it. And I care about it a hell of a lot, right? And I wish everybody could have the spoils of victory and could experience what it's like to win a race of this magnitude. But that is why everybody shows up, Cortland, because a lot of guys' goals and a lot of guys' expectations are not necessarily come to Greenwood to win this race. They just want to come and be a part of it, right? They want to come in and they want to win. Yes, they would love to win it, but they just want to make the race because they want to hear you or I say their name, in the starting lineup. They get to walk down and represent their sponsors or represent their fans. This is a big deal, and I don't ever want to discredit that or minimize it's the 12th year we paid $10,000 in factory stocks, and we got a $30,000 over here, so we've watered. No. We can never water down paying a racer $10,000 to win. I don't give a shit if it's 2037 or 2026 or 2015. It's got to mean something. So when I come here and I talk about it, it's because it does mean something. And I went on a little rant here, or a ramble. It's not a rant. I know that this race means a lot to people, but we can't ever lose that, right? Like, it's more than a race. Like, this race is a big deal. It's a big race. If you leave Greenwood, I raced the car for the first time in 13 years on Saturday night. I just wanted to hit the corners and not spin out. And when I put in perspective that you see guys out here racing 3 and 4 and 5, it blows my mind. That's why I drove a car this last Saturday night, to renew my perspective on this stuff. I have so much respect. I do. I have so much respect and adoration for what these guys do every week, man. But that's all I got on that. It's got to mean something, man. It's just like the SEC. It just means more.
It just means more. And in our area, when you talk about our factory stocks and what we have, that's our niche, that's just what our bread and butter is right now. And you can't change it. And was the King of the Hill, was the original one in 2015 part of the reason why it's our niche? Probably so. And like you said, it just means something. The fact that we do pay $30,000, don't let that water down the fact that we still got a 5-figure payday going down in Greenwood, Louisiana. And it was one of the OGs of the reason why the factory stocks have evolved to what they are today. And so it does, man. It just means more. And we're going to steal the SEC moniker. You put it out there first. It really does. There's all of those guys roll in, and you just want to make the starting A main lineup. Because whenever you make that A main lineup, you've done something that at least puts some type of feather in your cap. Whether you're the last dude to transfer in a B main or you are a high point man, you've done something that year. Like I said, like I talked about Jeffrey Abbey checking that box of winning a big factory stock race. Well, 99% of these dudes, when they roll in there, checking the box of making the King of the Hill, that will check their box for the year of, hey, we've done something this year, something to be proud of, right? And like you said, it renews, you go on to race, it renews your perspective. Just to go out there and be a part of the event ought to mean something to you, right? Like that's checking the box as well. There's just so many things about it, and you can look at it from 48 different angles. It just really is. It is a really cool event. It has grown. It has flourished. Like you said, it averages 100 car turnout every single year. And you can't shake a stick at that. Like, that's just something that a lot of races in this country would wish they could do. And we get to do it every single year in Greenwood, Louisiana at the boot. And it just really is, whether you hate it, if you wish we had more A-mod races, heck, I do too. Wish we had more super races, heck, I do too. But at the end of the day, we got dudes that work their tails off and are some very talented wheelmen that get behind the wheel and they lay it all on the line week in and week out. But whenever you throw the King of the Hill on top of it, it is all, I mean, it's just, you can't even explain it. You just got to show up and be a part of it.
Yeah, it's like our little World 100 down here, right? Like
It's
a big deal for us. It is. Just like that 30K is a big deal. And I know that pays 20 grand more, but winning this 10K ain't nothing to shake a stick at, right?
Yeah.
I just kind of wanted to debate this with you. I took the factory stock winners from this past weekend from all over the great state of Texas and Louisiana. Out of these drivers, and I don't know of all these guys, and also before I get into that, you mentioned the car count. Guys, I'm not guaranteeing you there's going to be 100 cars there this weekend. I don't know. We never know what we're going to get. It's always a pleasant surprise when you get over 100 cars. Last year, though, we had 82, but keep in mind, by the way, it's impressive that this event has been able to stand the test of time and we've gotten the support and the car count that it has because, man, those first 3 or 4 years were marred by Mother Nature. Like this event, 8 years out of the 11 that we've attempted it has been we've had to deal with Mother Nature. And so we've always had to race around that fact, right? Now, maybe not necessarily always had the best racetrack, but we've done everything we could to provide the racers with the best possible show and for the race fans to provide them a great show. And it has. It's just been a great event since its inception in 2015. But I wanted to ask, as I compiled this list, Philip Seals won at 105 this past weekend. He's a longtime Boot Hill Speedway big-time event stalwart, right? I don't know that a time that I haven't seen Philip Seals in a 93 car come to Boot Hill to try to win a King of the Hill. I think he's been at the 30Ks too. Johnny Torres won at Cotton Bowl. He finished second in this race, the King of the Hill, 3 years ago, right? Johnny Torres could win this race this weekend. Rodney White won at Grayson this past weekend. Tyler Russell, who in my opinion was number one dark horse this past at the 30K this year. He raced his way in. Tyler Russell came in to Greenwood, Louisiana. He showed up and he showed out. He won at Kennedale Speedway Park on Saturday night. Wayne Melton, who I saw a Facebook comment, said that he didn't intend or didn't plan to race the King of the Hill. Wayne, I know you listen to this podcast, cuz I hope you get a change of heart because the 18M car has been fast this year. He's won at Southern Oklahoma. He's won at RPM. He's won at a lot of tracks. He's won at Hunt. Wayne Melton needs to be in Greenwood racing for 10 grand this weekend. If he's not, I'll be disappointed, but I understand if he doesn't, it is what it is. Michael Dabney Jr. won at Heart of Texas this past weekend. Mason Martin won at Hunt County. Blaine Nolan got your Thunder Valley Speedway win down in Glenmore, Louisiana. And Quick Case got the win at Arklatex. Out of those drivers I listed, who do you think has the best chance to go back-to-back and score their first ever King of the Hill win? Philip Seals, Johnny T, Rodney White, Tyler Russell, Wayne Melton.
I wrote them all down.
Okay. All right, my bad.
Yeah, I was taking notes while you was rolling through that, but
just having fun.
We're just having fun. But I gotta give love to old JT, old Johnny Torres. I gotta give some love to him. You know, whenever you finish second in this race, at least one point in time in your career, whether it was 10 years ago, 4 years ago, last year, it doesn't matter. You got to put yourself in that position to get the job done, right? And if you do that multiple times, eventually one will end up in your favor and you'll end up in victory lane for the King of the Hill. But I'm going to give it to Johnny Torres. You know, his 30,000 maybe didn't necessarily go the way he wanted to, but man, anytime the old 66 rolls in, like there's a good chance old Johnny Torres can wheel, and he's obviously proven it before. But I'd have to give the knock to him, but I'm still not going to fall off my Vic Case pick talking about Vic Case from earlier. You know, he's one that's proven that he can win at Boot Hill Speedway earlier this year, and he's another one. But out of that list right there, I got to give the Johnny Torres the nod on that one, just because I mean he's been there. He races everything that you could possibly imagine. He's got all the experience in the world, and finishing second in this race before, I feel like will really pay off in the long run.
Yeah, if we don't mention you tonight on this pod, please don't take it personally. I promise you, like we're not looking to overlook anybody. There's a reason, you know, like if you keep working hard at it, you know, maybe we'll mention you next year, you know, during this deal. I mean, you got to put your name in the hat. You know, it takes years for some of these drivers to build the resumes that they have. You know, like Dalton Dubois may have been working his way into this conversation last year. Well, now he's firmly, right? Josh Martin in the past was working hard to just get into the conversation, and now he's considered one of the top 10 contenders, right? It takes time. It takes effort to be able to get in there. Hey, not necessarily to have us talk about it, but it's a grind.
And just to talk about a couple more on that list, you know, Tyler Russell, that 14A, don't sleep on him. Like, I watched him on practice night at the 30K, and I told you, like, on practice night, I was like, hey, keep an eye on that 14A, because, like, he ripped around there in practice. Like, he could run the top, middle, bottom. Like you said, raced his way in. He finished 13th, maybe left a little bit out there, but at the end of the day, he made the 30,000. You make the race, that checks the box. That may be the one that checks the box for your whole year and do it. And then if he rolls into the King of the Hill, he's got a pretty good notebook to roll back on. And same thing, kind of like you mentioned with Mason Martin earlier. He's a guy that has shown speed time and time again, had really, really good speed when they made their trip through Sabine and Boot Hill a couple weeks ago. So that's another one to keep your eye out for. But man, we can sit here, like you said, the list could go on forever. Heck, when you were listing your top 15, I sat there, I wrote down, what about Kyle Cummins, finished 4th at the 30K? Does he find a ride and end up running top 10 at a big Fan Factor stock race? Logan Gordon, L88, was running up front in the 30K, and I think he ended up hitting the tractor tire, knocking the front end out of it. Like, we could just go on and on and on about this all day long.
Finished 5th, right?
And he sold his car
in the 30K.
And he sold his car.
Yeah, Chris Sawyer finished 5th in the 30K earlier this year, and he sold his race car. Kenneth Montgomery has it now, and I think Kamo said he was going to try to field a car. And I've had a few people message me asking if Whitehead was going to run this race, and I texted him earlier this evening just to quell any of those rumors. He said, man, I don't want to put his business out there, but he said he's been a little burnout, and I don't know why that is. And maybe we could have him on the podcast soon and talk to him about it if he'd be willing to come on. But again, I don't. That happens to a lot of racers around this time of the year when it gets really hot outside. And a guy like Justin, who's won a lot of races, like, he doesn't have anything left to prove, right? Cortland doesn't necessarily feel like he has anything to prove. He's a racer, though, and he wants to win races. But he did say that he will be in the 36J car this weekend. So I texted him, asking a little bit more. He said, man, I've just been kind of struggling to find motivation lately. And that's normal, right? Like, I think that a lot of racers go through those kind of trials and tribulations in their racing career. And I didn't think Justin would find it at this point. He's 36 years old, but he'll figure it out. He'll get that second wind. And like I told him, I said the best motivation is Victor Lane. Like, if you find it this week, I'm sure you'll be happy to be there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, all it takes is shoot. You don't even have to find victory lane. You just roll out there and have a good Friday night. If you roll up in there and that
he's had some of those.
Yeah, I mean, he's had plenty of good Friday nights, and that really is. I'm not saying like that little kick, that little boost that's all you looked for, and that could be it, right? And by all means, it is 36J's goal whenever he rolls in their victory lane. By all means, that's his goal. But just getting out there, having a good weekend, and you get caught up and like you said, in this time of year, we got guys that have raced, and the dog days of summer, it's easy to kind of sit there and go like, man, like, I've done this stuff a lot this year. Like, I could maybe take a weekend off and not feel too bad about it. I don't have to go spend 3 days in Greenwood. But at the end of the day, I knew somehow, some way, I even bought in on the raffle for a chance to possibly drive the 36J, but I knew somehow, some way the 36J or Justin Whitehead was going to be there racing in it. You can't have a King of the Hill without Justin Whitehead racing in it. And I knew he's going to find some shape or fashion to be there. And so he's going to be there. And like you said, a little boost of confidence might be what spearheads the rest of the year for the 36J if he is getting a little burnout. But, it is what it is. But at the end of the day, we're racing for 10K. Like, you'll get fired up a little bit. Like, if he really didn't want to be there, he wouldn't be there. He's still rolling in there with hopes and dreams to win that King of the Hill.
Absolutely. Man, let's move on and let's talk about Arklatex this past weekend. I don't know if you heard about it or not, but did you know that I raced this past Saturday night? Did you hear? I didn't put it out there in the world for everybody. I didn't want the attention, man. I you know me. I'm not a big. I don't need the attention.
I was live and direct watching it, bud. I wasn't at Arklatex, but you bet your boy was tuned in. Because I'm going to tell you right now.
Go ahead.
Go ahead on a scale of 1 to 10.
How embarrassed were you for me after my heat race performance?
I wasn't embarrassed for you at all. I just
tell
told
him what you texted me.
You better not bring out a caution. That's what I was going to say. You better not bring out a caution. Because whenever you told me you was rolling up there, I said, for the love of Jesus, Mary, and Joseph, you better not bring out a caution. That is all I told you. And I said, you better not go put around the tires neither. Like, you better at least gas on it. Like, you better at least gas on it. You get the opportunity. You better put the pedal to the metal and do not bring out a caution. And you did a good job, my friend. I was pumped up for you. I got some questions for you.
I want to
get into.
Let's get into that. But all right, so Steve Grants messages me And he's kind of put this in my ear, and he's told me that he wanted me to drive his car in the Rookie Sportsters at some time when I have an off night from announcing, right? And I know I told you guys last week that I was on the fence about Amarillo. Well, obviously, I didn't end up in Amarillo with the USMTS. I still kind of regret it. I wish I'd have just went, to be honest with you. But I didn't. And I ended up going to Vivian on Saturday night and just enjoying my night as a fan. And I didn't find out till like 5:30 that I was going to race this car, right? And so Steve messaged me after we have talked about it briefly. He said, well, why don't you just come to Arklatex if you're not announcing tonight and drive my car? And I thought about it for a minute. And I said, shit, cuz that sounds like a pretty fun idea. You know what I mean? So I hopped in the car and headed my ass to Vivian, Louisiana. And I told him, I said, Steve, I have no helmet. I have no fire suit. I'm truly a race bum right now. I have nothing I need to race. You have everything I need to make this happen. And he said, no problem. I have a helmet. I have a fire suit. Dude, I showed up. I didn't get a chance to hot lap because he was dealing with something with the distributor. So I didn't get a chance to hot lap. Dude, and what's crazy is I have more nerves when I get on and run a league race on iRacing. I had zero nerves. I had no nerves about this. My mom asked me, she's like, are you nervous? I was like, not at all. I don't know why. Like, I prayed about it. I just felt good, like, going into it. And, dude, I felt good and confident. I roll out there for that heat race. Oh, my God. I rolled out there, dude, and I'm telling you right now, it felt like I had strapped a pair of ice skates on, a pair of bottle rockets. Like, I have never in my life felt... So I was thinking, like, this is half, like, with my iRacing prowess, like, this has got to feel something like iRacing. And I go out there and I get on that gas, and I'm telling you, that thing wanted to stay. I was making ham tossed pizzas in there, dude. Like, hey, I went to the outside of that 81H of Heath Hayes. This is heat number 2 of the Sportsters. And I thought I was going to get in the gas and hit that grip up there, hit that brown on the top of 1 and 2. And I went in there, hey, and I hit the donut shop, but hey, dude, I was determined, okay? I said, I am not bringing a caution out. Dude, I looped that son of a bitch. I spun around, and I could hear, dude, I was just waiting on Marla. I was like, fuck. I was like, do not bring out a caution, ZC. Do not bring out a caution. And so I'm on the gas, dude, and I'm peeling out going up the track. I'm peeling out because them rear tires, they don't have any tread on them, and I'm burning the wheels off. I know I'm just glazing those tires over. And I just get back in line like I'm on the same lap as all these other guys. No one had just got my ass. You sure did. I was like, you know what? Damn, this is my hot lap session. Dude, I was thinking to myself that Steve Grant has set me up for failure. Like, this man put me in a car with 20 pounds of tire pressure, and I'm telling you, dude, I felt like a 3-legged dog on an icy lake. Do you hear me? So I went out there and I struggled my ass off in the heat race. I came back and Sean Graham was on my ass. He said, Sean told me before I went out, he said, go to the bottom and don't get off. That's what he told me. But dude, there's a great plan before you get on the racetrack. Like, there's always a great plan. But then when you get out there, it's just you, the steering wheel, the car, and God. That's it. You ain't got nobody to lean on. And hey, where do I need to go? No, buddy, that's you. You're driving the car. And I'm telling you right now, I couldn't have been more embarrassed by my performance. But I made plenty of excuses. I said, you know what? It's because I expected it to feel like iRacing. That was my stupidest excuse of all. But no, really didn't anticipate. I knew it would be a different feel. I was looking for that feel in my hands and out of the rear of the car, but it was just set up way too loose. So we took some pressure out, took some pounds of pressure out in the feature, and dude, I'm telling you right now, I was rolling around there. I told Jeff Hammond I was rolling around there singing Brand New Man by Brooks and Dunn, and I ain't lying. I was rolling around there. I'm born to love again. I'm a brand new man. I was rolling around there singing that. If y'all think I'm lying, I wish I had an in-car audio because I damn sure was. But anyway, I was rolling around. I started 10th, and hey, on the start of that race, your boy, I figured it out. I just went into the corner and started gassing up, and I was trail braking. And I thought maybe it looked like, I was like, damn.
You was trail braking.
I was like, damn, I'm pushing really bad here. And I went off in there, and it stuck. I don't know why, but the car had more grip than it had in the heat. And the track was, dude, Arklatex was slick on Saturday night. When I say slick, that son of a gun was slick. The slickest I have ever seen Vivian. And I've caught thousands of races there. But anyway, do you have any questions before I get into the feature event? Because I could just keep rambling and get into more, But I'm
No,
getting
keep
a little
on
head.
going. Keep on rolling because my questions
so
will
the
come
green
after
flag-
because I'm loving this whole recap because
So
I'm
the
telling
green
you.
flag drops in the feature, and I'm starting outside of Drake Grigsby. And I know that I got to beat the 69, right? Like, he's a contender every week. And I told myself, if I pass him on the start of this race, then I'll feel a little confident. I know I got something to work with here. And boy, I fired off. I took that green flag, and little Grigsby kind of slipped up over there off turn 4, and I went shoo right to the inside of him. I said,
You did what?
I went shoo.
You did what?
I went shoo, holla at your boy 69. I love you, little youngster, but I gotta have this one today, okay? And so I went about my business. I rolled up the 6th, and then I rolled up the 5th. And then the 8 car of Mangum broke off a 2, and I rolled up the 3rd, and I said, "Holy shit, I'm in 3rd place." I'm rolling around. I'm looking, and then the caution comes out, and I'm rolling down the back straightaway. And I invited my dad. My dad came to the track. Shout out Todd Clark. He's the man. He came and supported me this weekend. And Courtney Knighton, she told me, she said, "Zach, run the damn ball." And I said, "Yes, ma'am." I said, "If I look up into these stands and you're not cheering for me, as soon as I get out of the car, I'm coming up there, I'm going to beat your ass." She made a Facebook post about it. But anyway, and so, yeah, man, I had a big support group. I didn't post this out on social media. I didn't want a big deal about it. I didn't want people to think I was coming out here to set the world on fire, because here's what I've learned is that I have so much respect for everybody that races. Like, it really, truly renews your perspective to realize that obviously I never considered it to be easy, but it's not. It's really not easy, Cortland, and it never has been easy. It's never going to be easy. Every time these drivers strap in and go out there, some of them just make it look easier than others. But all these drivers had more experience than I did. And man, on that restart, dude, it felt like I was out there forever. It did. Like, I only scored 7 laps. I go up the 3rd, and at the point of me getting the 3rd, at one point off of 4, I got a little high, and that's when you said I made a hand-tossed pizza, and I slapped the right rear tire on the wall, on the concrete. And I think that's what eventually cut the tire down, because on the restart, man, I fired off into one, son. I fired off in there, and I'm not kidding you. At that point, Cortland, I'm thinking I'm going to win this race. I'm not kidding you. I said, I am about to send the Bechet boys to the Heartbreak Hotel tonight. I said, I'd hate to do it. I was like, and then even worse, Colin Bell's got a torn ACL, but he's coming down to interview me. If this son of a gun doesn't come down and interview me if I win this race, I'm thinking that. I'm getting a little ahead of myself. That's how good I felt out there. I thought I was Johnny come lately, son. I was out there rocking and a-rolling. But then I went back and watched the replay and the video. It wasn't as impressive as I thought it was when I was behind the wheel. I'm just going to tell you. I thought it felt a lot more impressive than it did. I even told people that I rolled the 2nd, and I thought I was going to win the race. I've later retracted that statement out of respect for the Bechet boys. I just can't come in here and tell these boys in my first ever attempt that I was going to come and take this win away from them. But hey, if I'd have had that right rear tire, it'd have been a hell of a lot of fun to figure it out. Who knows? I might win in there, Cortland, and took the lead and spun out the next corner because I'd have felt the Jiminy Crickets. You know what I'm saying? Who knows? But all I know is, this is what I do know, is that I redeemed myself in the feature. That's what I do know. I redeemed myself to some degree in the feature, and Steve Grants was so fired up for me, he said, "We're doing it again." I said, shit. I said, I have done turned into a Saturday night racer, son. I'm trading in the microphone. It's over. I'm just turning into a racer now. I'm going to win the King of the Hill next year. Can't wait.
Hey, come on back, holler at your boy. You know what I mean? Hey, you're not even. Hey, you just walk in. You're a racer, but you just walk in. You didn't have a helmet bag or nothing. Like, you're the glorified racer. You're Kyle Larson out of this deal. You just changed in the trailer. You know what I mean? You just rolled up at 7:30, hopped right in. You didn't even need hot laps, just like Kyle Larson didn't need hot laps. You didn't need them neither. I mean, I'm just saying, my man. No, it was Zach Clark Racer 2027. Look out. Hide your rear axles.
I'm kidding. I'd much rather.
727's coming.
I would much rather announce. I'll be honest. I would. I love my job. I love announcing racing. Don't get it twisted.
Yeah. So I got to ask you, kind of alluded to it a little bit, like you said you weren't nervous. So that kind of took my question away. But
wait, there was a time I was getting a little nervous. Like, I kept having to pee, and I thought I was going to poop my pants a time or two. I mean, whenever I was climbing back in, when I looked at the lineup, when I pulled that up, because I thought I was going to be starting dead last because I didn't make but freaking 4 laps in the heat race. So I was like, surely I'm starting dead last. I pull it up, and I'm starting mid-pack. I'm starting 10th. I was like, I didn't earn this. That's what I was thinking. I was like, I didn't earn this. I should be starting at the tail. And I asked Steve and I asked my dad, I said, do y'all think I should start at the back? And my dad looked at me like I was crazy. He was like, hell no. And he said, we're going for the glory. I said, all right, bud. I hear you loud and clear, Victor T. And so that's what I did.
So what's one thing that you learned from this experience that you had never thought about before? I know, like you said, it's been 13 years since you raced, but what's one thing that you're taking away from this? And you hit your finger like you got it. What's one thing that you're taking away from this? And it's like it was either an eye-opening moment or a moment that like from now on you respect this about racing. Like, what's the one thing that you're taking away from this?
I definitely respect it a lot more now. And I only got to make 7 laps in the feature. There were still 13 to go, and I don't think they got to complete the race. But one thing I learned is that I should have had, and this is me to say this because it's not my race car, right? But I did text Steve this yesterday. I said, man, if I'd have known there was 13 to go, I was like, we'd have had a tire down there. We'd have got that sumbitch changed, and we'd have rolled back up there to the front, son. Yeah, confident Carl over here, right? But yeah, no, I said we should have definitely got a tire change there, and maybe I could have rolled back and made some noise. So that's one thing I learned on that. But the other thing is, like I already alluded to it, is that this sport has never been easy. It is hard, and when you think you're running the top, you're not really running the top. And when you think you're running the bottom, you're not really running the bottom. I thought I was down there in the basement, dude. I look back at the video, and I'm 14 stairs up the racetrack. You know what I mean? Like, it feels like the world, when you're out there, I kept trying to tell myself after the heat race that I have to just chill. You know what I mean? Like, my goal in the feature, Cortland, was to not spin out. That was my goal. But I wanted to have speed, right? I wanted to make sure I had the same speed because I had straightaway speed. It was just, I needed to learn how to get the car into the corner. Well, I had a debriefing with Steve after the heat and my dad, and he kind of coached me through what I more so needed to do. I said, do you use the brake at all getting into the corner? And he said, I just barely tap it to set the car to get in. And so that's what I was attempting to do. I was just trying to get the car pointed and straight and get back on the gas. And like I asked him even this too, and I know it sounds silly because I know better, but I asked him anyway just to be reassured. I said, Steve, when you're coming off the corner, you're not just back into the gas. You're easy. He said, yeah, I'm never even hardly full throttle because the track is so slick and we're on slick tires, right? And so that's one thing I learned is that slower is faster. It's always been that way. Even on iRacing, it's that way. Anybody that's out there just, blowing the tires off, you're not going to win very many races. Slow and smooth is always fast. Aaron Jordan talked to me down there in the pits. He was like, man, he said, same thing I tell my kids. He's like, slow down. That's what he told me. He's like, just slow down. Jeff Lewis also came by and gave me some really good advice. He was texting me. He was kind of fired up for me. But old J. Lou, I got out of the car. He seemed pretty proud of me. It was cool. It was cool climbing out of the car, and Jeff Lewis was one of the first people there to talk to me. Like that was something that I will never forget in my life. I won't, because I've looked up to Jeff Lewis my whole life. And I love that man. I really do. And I texted him. I said, Jeff, I'm racing tonight. Do you have any advice or any pointers you could give me? He said, I have a whole bunch of them in all caps. And he saved those and gave those to me at the racetrack. But yeah, man, like I said, I didn't make this like a big announcement on social media. I didn't do anything, honestly, to publicize this or anything. Because I don't think I'm a big deal. I was just there to have fun. You know what I mean? I know that there was people that posted stuff on social media, and I appreciate everybody who was in my corner that told me I did a good job. And because, like Cortland, I know I got a little carried away because right after I texted you, and I said, I was going to win that thing. And you were like, okay. He said, well, I hear you, old Wheeling ZC. Like, I think I got a little ahead of myself. I had to go back and look at the replay first before I just decided I was going to win the feature, right?
I'm just going to say the eye in the sky don't lie. And in that, you did make up for the heat race performance, I'll tell you. But I just want to know, like, what was the full send meter on that restart? Because, like, I'm sitting here watching it, and I told my lady, I said, Zach Clark's about to drive this thing into 1 and 2 like it's the end of the world. And, boy, did you blow that thing off in there in 1 and 2. And I don't know if he was going to make the corner or not, but the right rear blower definitely didn't help. You was going to make it? Okay.
That's why I thought I went to second. Because I drove it in so hard.
You drove that unit off in there. Yeah. Like, you made a large hand toss pizza 3 laps before, and you weren't lifting till you see God or crap your pants in 1 and 2 on that restart because you sniffed the front and you got excited, my boy. I'm just going to go ahead and tell you. And just like you said, I wouldn't have wanted nothing bad for you. Heck, I wish you would have won it. But if you would have got the lead, I'm telling you, I would have just loved to, like you said, have a mic in there. Like I just,
Oh,
like you said, you singing a brand new man. Like under that restart, what were you thinking? What was in the back of your head? Like, I mean, like you've done said you thought you was gonna win this unit. So I mean, I know what you were thinking, but on that restart, what was your game plan? Because you sent it off into 1 and
honestly
2.
and truthfully, my goal was to not wreck anybody else. Like I
Yeah.
didn't want to wreck that man's race car. Like, so my approach, even though I did send it in there, my approach was, man, I don't want to tear this man's race car up. Like he afforded me this opportunity, and I want to go in
Yeah.
here and do something silly and do something boneheaded, and also take away laps from these younger kids who are out here trying to learn. Because I'm not going to be out here every week, right? So I was in my mind, yes, Cortland, I wanted to win the race, but I also wasn't going to do anything stupid to get it done, right? Like, I mean, sure, I could have went in there and fired and, fired it off in there and got a flat and went up the track and KO'd somebody. But that's what I was seriously trying to not let happen. You know what I mean? I wanted to go out there and just be like any other racer. I didn't really want all the odds on me, and I just wanted to have a respectable showing, right? I just wanted it to be a respectable showing. I didn't want it. I mean, honestly, I didn't think there was any chance that I would even have a shot to even take a bite at the lead. You know what I mean? And shout out to those Bechet boys, and shout out to Little Grigsby, man. He spun out a couple times. That's a testament to how slick Arklatex was. Like, have you ever seen Viv? I mean, it's certainly been a while because I mean, let's be honest. When Donnie Powers had a place, they put a different service on, and that place was pretty hammered down there for a little while, right? But man, Arklatex was smooth as butter and smooth as glass on Saturday night, man.
Yeah, it's a whole new Arklatex around there. A lot of the banking, I'm not saying that they took it out, but you don't have that cup up around the top to really save you, right? Like you can't go in there and just blow off in there 99 miles an hour and expect the banking to save you. It is different. That whatever mixture of some soap, whatever soap they put in it, whatever it may be, it turns a gray, and it's just it's a very different Arklatex that we see, and it's a very different from what we have at a lot of racetracks around here. We got our typical red dirt down here, and then you got some of the darker brown stuff. But when you go up there, whatever they're doing right now, it just creates a very technical and tricky place. And I think you kind of saw that on Saturday night at Arklatex because it threw a curveball to quite a few guys. They're probably getting to some of the results, but
Yeah.
Cody Tupper threw a boat anchor out. Derek Grigsby was leading the race. Like it's not very often the 69 leading the race and get past, right? So it's very different from what it has been, man. And it's through the different owners and promoters and stuff, it's slowly changed, and now to what it is now. Is it the Arklatex of old? No, but it is a renewed Arklatex that is slick, smooth, races obviously very well. You can charge your way up through the field, but it is very, very different. And I can't speak on it a whole lot because I have never raced on that type of Arklatex speedway, but it looks very technical. It is slower is definitely faster at Arklatex Speedway right now. We're back in the gap. Maybe you had to be up on the wheel a little bit more. My boy Gene, he used to have that thing tuned up. You know what I'm saying? Like he wasn't scared to pour the water to her, and they're not either. It's just the way that they're prepping it and stuff. It's just a really hard, really smooth, and it races really well. But it's just a very slick, slippery, patchy. It's very, very different, and it creates something new. And as long as the racing's good, heck, whatever they're doing, keep on working with it because she keeps on showing out week in and week out.
I did want to say that Sean Graham did tell me that one of the first things when I came off the racetrack is he was disappointed that I cut that tire. He said, "You wouldn't have blown that tire if you would have been running on the bottom like I told you." But I think because Steve texted me yesterday and he said that when I slapped the wall with the right rear, he thinks that that's what cut it down. He said because I knocked the quarter panel in a little bit, and he said it was digging into the tire. So that's the reason for that. I don't think it's because I was running the top and sitting in there too hard and just rolled it off the rim. I don't know. But anyway, I wish I could have posted this, but this is a picture of me instead. Look at old ZC in the old fire suit, cuz. Come on back.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I felt like hot shit with it tied off at my waist. Come on.
Hey, you felt like a certified wheeler, didn't you?
Dude, look at your boy ZC out there, huh? Yeah.
Big cheesing on him.
I was so happy because I'm for real, man. That was an amazing experience, man. Thank you to Steve Grants, and also I want to give a shout out to his girlfriend Robin, man. She was so sweet and just very welcoming. Obviously, Steve wanted to do this for me, and she seemed just as excited as he did about putting me in the car, and I think that was pretty cool too, man. So thank you to her. When she gave me my fire suit, she said it's clean and washed and it's just for you. It just made me feel it made me feel welcome. Like I had a great time. I don't have a chance to just be a fan, right, very often. I know earlier this year I came to this pod and I talked about going to Arklatex that one Saturday night where I just kind of got to be a fan, and I did some interviews for RaceON that night. But it is fun just kind of got to go to the racetrack and get your perspective renewed as far as the on-track activity that goes on, that these guys out here that are here to supply a show for us every single week, that like this is their life, right? This is what they do. And man, it made me honestly hungry to want to drive something different with grip on the tires. I don't know. I think that I would be better with something maybe with a little bit more motor or grip. I know that sounds crazy. Like, let's start off small, ZC, settle down. But I don't know. I would just love the opportunity to maybe drive something with a little more grip and a little bit more bite underneath the hood. But very grateful and thankful again for Steve Grant. So, Steve, I know you're listening to this. Thank you very much, sir. You're the man. I had a blast. Also, man, how about and speaking of the Sportsters, let's just talk about it, because talking about a slick racetrack, what that racetrack will do for you, or will do for a driver who can figure it out, is you can watch a driver go from 22nd to the win. That's what Chris Burrows. Yeah, we were talking the other night. He said he got a kick out of you saying that at Boot Hill. But Burrows rolls from 22nd to the win and makes a last lap pass coming off forward of the checkered flag. And that was an exhilarating finish for him. And he was fired up, climbed out of the car. He's fist pumping, just Chris Burrows is one of the good guys, man. He really is. Like, I've always been a big fan of him. Him and my brother used to race factory stocks with each other at Boot Hill back in 2011 and 2012. And Burrows was always a clean and very respectable driver. And he swapped that factory stock with Michael Turner. And I asked him after the race, I was like, man, you're having fun now, aren't you? He said, dude, this is the most fun I've ever had in racing. And it's just good to see good guys like Chris Burrows get a win, especially from 22nd, man. He left zero zilch, not a doubt about it, on the table, right?
Dude, I mean, and it puts on a show for the fans, like I'm sure Chris Burrows would have loved to start up front and made it a lot easier day for him, but it puts on a phenomenal show for the fans. Get a last lap pass, and he passed 21 cars on the way to do it, and then don't shake a stick at it. Hunter Allen runs second, what another great performance out of the 25 camp. And then JD Emmons passed 20 cars as well to finish third. So it just right there in that A main, you had over 46 cars were passed. What would that be? No, my math was wrong. 47 cars were passed between your top three cars. Like they had to pass 47 cars to get up there, which is really, really incredible. So it does, man. That place does produce slick surfaces like that, and Chris Burrows picks up the win. And, you talk about all these guys having fun with the Sportsters. It's almost as if I'm not saying not driving them's not easy, but I guess you could say like the setups and stuff like that is a little bit easier because you can't really do a whole lot. Like Steve Bogus tries to keep constraints on this class, and you don't have to think too much about setups. You just go out there and just will the crap out of it, and that's what these guys are doing. And they had to will the crap out of it, and that's what Chris Burrows did to come from 22nd to the win. And and you see guys like that doing it. And I'm not saying I've never been in a Sportster pit area. I don't know how many adjustments they're doing, but I know their rules don't allow for a whole lot. So I'm not saying it makes your night any easier. Like I said, you're still going out there and driving the absolute dog lights out of it, but when you're not having to go back in the pit area and worry about this or worry about that or worry about what changes you're going to make, it's just kind of like, oh, we only got like 2 things to change. Like that's about all we can do, really. Like we're just going to go out here and drive it and have fun. And that's what it seems like a lot of guys are doing. And I can't be mad at him for it. If Chris Burrows is having the time of his life wheeling that Sportster, then go right ahead, bud. And he parked it in victory lane at Arklatex.
I meant to change it. I meant to put my Boot Hill hat on her because it's Boot Hill Speedway Race Week, right? I meant to wear my Boot Hill hat earlier. Yeah, well, I meant to change earlier. I forgot about it. I've never worn this hat, though. Brand new hat. I've never worn it. I've had it for a year. Never worn it. First time. Anyway. Dude, how about the other winners at Arklatex? Is Vic Case, we talked about, got the factory stock win there. There was only 15 factories, 18, I think, total there, which you could expect because the King of the Hill's coming up this week, right? We expected the car count maybe be a little down. But Vic Case, he got a little bit of extra feather in his cap, got a little extra confidence before he went to King of the Hill. That's what a win can do for you before you roll into Greenwood this week if you go somewhere and get a win like those other drivers that I mentioned earlier that got wins across Louisiana and Texas. Riker Boucher won the Rookie Sportsters. Carson Bradley, man, he has really emerged as a consistent threat and a contender, right? He's really, really, really good at Arklatex. We talked about this a couple of times on the pod, right? As soon as he can get Boot Hill figured out like he has Vivian figured out, that C88 car is going to be he is a consistent threat no matter what. But When he gets all these tracks kind of dialed in, look out. Carson Bradley's I think he's going to get double-digit wins next year. Just watch what happens with the C88 camp. And, dude, Skeet Amison, we know how good Skeet is, right? 69-year-old wily veteran, went to the back of the race early and rolled back to the front. And not that he just rolled to the front, he passed the 69, right? Passed some other good cars to get there. And Skeet gets the limited modified win. And while I'm talking about limiteds, Chase Cook, one of the heat races I saw this weekend, outran Heath Wilson in the heat race and unfortunately got disqualified in the tech shed. But I wanted to say the young man drove a great race. He really did. He held onto the wheel and held back the charge from Heath Wilson, and he got DQ'd for a header that was like a 1/10 of an inch too wide or something like that, which they can expand when they get heat. I don't know. I'm not the guy. I think Steve Bogus knows what he's talking about more than I do. I'm not here to talk about that. Just here to talk about the young man and his driving ability. It's like you can tangibly see that he's gotten better every single time he's driven a car, right? Just a year and a half ago, he was in this rookie Sportster, putting around. And it's cool to see Chase Cook pushing the progression. So congrats to him on a heat race win that got taken away, but it is what it is. And then we talked about Chris Burrows with that last lap pass. Yeah, it was a great night at Arklatex, man. I didn't anticipate over 130 cars there, but what you got?
Don't sleep on the old Wong Mod race now. My boy Cody Robbins led
Morgan,
Cody Robbins led like 23 laps of that unit, coming to the white flag. The caution comes out, and Tyler Morgan steals it from the beard. You know what I'm saying? And I think Cody said he had a right rear tire going down, and I think his Facebook post said like those are the nights in racing that you just want to sell all your crap the next day when you get home. But Tyler Morgan picks up the Rick Court Memorial there that they had at Arklatex, but Fear the Beard led most of that one. But you don't want to forget about the Wong Mod race there. It was a pretty good one. They had a really good battle early on. Cody got the lead there about halfway through the race, and I was kind of driving away there. Then the caution comes out late, but the Wong Mods, they don't see them a whole lot, but they had a really good showing at Arklatex.
Yeah, absolutely. What's the final thing here? Oh, number 99s. Number 99.
We didn't do them.
We're already we're already an hour and 1 minute here, man. I'm telling you, the time just goes by quickly when we get the yapping. But I did kind of want, maybe we'll save this for next week. I wanted to ask you your top 5 all-time Arklatex drivers. Top 5 all time. I'll give you mine.
I'll
How
be
about
prepared.
That? I'll give you mine next week. Or no. I'll give you mine
we'll
right
do it
now.
next week.
And I'm going to come back next week and I might revise it. But I've got Gary Wright, number 1. All right. Over 100. He's got 127 career ASCS sprint car wins. He's a National Sprint Car Hall of Famer, Gary Wright. And then the National Dirt Late Model Hall of Famer, Doug Ingles out of Longview, Texas, sits second. Of course, Gary Wright was from Hooks, Texas. I got Kenny Merchant sitting at the 3 spot, a 57-time SUPR late model winner and a 3-time SUPR late model champion. I've got Kenny Merchant number 3, of Ronnie Adams, who sits number 4. Why do I have Ronnie Adams at number 4? Because he was I have to double look at my stat. I had to pull up my book here, but I think he had 16 LSDTCs. He had a lot of them. Won a lot of races and a many-time track champion at Boot Hill and all the super wins that he had, over 30 of those in his career. Ronnie Adams never won a super title because he kind of just raced where he wanted to, but he was always a consistent contender, right? And at some point, if Cade Dillard sticks with it, I think Cade can eventually surpass potentially Kenny or Ronnie, depending on what he does from here. But I think Cade's resume up to this point might be enough to vault him in there. And I've kind of struggled with determining whether Jason Johnson or Turbo, Tyler Erb, or Arklatex drivers. We're just going to go ahead and say yes. We're going to adopt them. So I'd probably have to take Jason Johnson and put him inside the top 4 there. So somebody's getting bumped out. But at the end of the day, the conversation that we can have here is that, dude, I talk about the rich history that we have in racing in the Arklatex region. This list right here by itself just kind of proves that. Because I didn't mention Chris Hennigan. I didn't mention Justin Whitehead and all that he's done over the last 15 years. I hadn't mentioned Derek Grigsby, Rob Litton, 4-time super champ, Ricky Ingles, and what he accomplished, Ray Moore, right? Maybe if Ray raced a little bit longer, who knows what his career could have been. But, man, those top 5 or 6, 7 guys that I mentioned there, like, they're kind of working their way into being firmly cemented into the top 5 all-time Arklatex area drivers.
Yeah, our history is something that we should be very proud of. It is we are blessed, man, to grow up where we're at. And I know sometimes when you kind of look back that it may not be as many as other places in the world, but to come from from down here and towards the Gulf, it really is something special, and that we do have a really rich history to be proud of. So I'll come back with my top 5 next week. I'm gonna sit here and do a little digging, and I'll come back and maybe have a couple to argue with on, and we'll see how it goes. But yes, our history is really is rich when you start talking about the Arklatex region and some of the shoes that have rolled through here.
What if we did a top 5 Boot Hill list of like the top 5 racers in Boot Hill history? That would be pretty wild to come up with that. That would take a lot of digging.
I mean,
it would take a lot of digging.
Well, it may take a lot of digging, but I'm gonna go. You got to give that to Ronnie Adams. I feel like that's you got to go one right there off the rip. Like,
Speaking of the king of the hill.
the original. Yes, I was about to say the original king of the hill, right? Ronnie, like that. It's got to go there. Like you can't. You're not gonna get me to budge off that hill.
By
no means. I don't care who you are.
I've got him number 1 as well. Absolutely do. I think Doug would probably be 2, and I think I got Derek Grigsby number 3. If we were just to, I mean, really, Derek has been that good at Boot Hill in his career. Like, I think you have to, and I think that you, in a way, you have to subtract what car they raced in. I think that when you do it across multiple disciplines and you have the wins and the prowess that he has, I think all things have to be considered there. So, because I think Doug and Ronnie or Gary or any of those guys could have done it in different cars too. It was just at that particular time, the cars that they have raced throughout that portion of their career. So, before we get out of here, man, sometimes we do it first, sometimes we do it last. Tonight we're going to do it last, episode number 99. So, number 99s I've got this week are Jeremy Haddocks out of Ruston, Louisiana. Funny, I was sitting in the stands this past week, and I was up there, and I was watching Jeremy's B-Mod heat race, and I'm sitting next to this guy, and this old man. He said, "So who are you?" That's what he said. He just turned and looked at me and he said, "So who are you?" I had the fire suit on. I thought I was big shit sitting there, and I said, "I'm Zach Clark, sir."
I bet you did.
He said, "Oh, I know you." He said, "You're supposed to be up there." And I said, "No, not tonight, man. I'm racing." He said, "Oh, really?" But it was Doug Haddocks. That was the old man of the Haddocks clan. Yeah. So anyway, we got to talking down there, and man, and what a guy. Like, what a cool guy he is. But, man, Jeremy Haddocks, the whole Haddocks family are just legendary racers. Like, from Lee J to Jake to Jeremy, the Haddocks family have been getting after it for years, right? And old Doug, it's great to see him there. William Brooks in the 99, by the way, shout out to him because I just saw that he was having a kidney transplant maybe. Something pretty serious. I'll have to double check and look. But, man, if y'all could think about it, please remember to keep William Brooks in your thoughts and prayers, one of our Pro Mod drivers, or B-Mod drivers, too, in the B99. How about a throwback for you? Shout out to Boss Hog Racing. Drove the 99 V car of Chucky Valentine, huh? Chuck Valentine was teammates with Mark Woods back in the day at Bayou and Champion Park Speedway in Webster. But yeah, Chuck Valentine, man, he was fun to watch. I got Curtis Waybright, drove the number 99 as well around Boot Hill and Arklatex. Derek Grigsby drove the number 99 Craft Chassis Modified before he officially changed to 69. So what a lot of people don't know is that Derek, his number was 99 for the majority of his career. And he ran a number 99 street stock until he started driving the number 69 for his uncle Kenny Grigsby when he took over in 2009 season in the red TRE chassis limited modified. They called that car the Red Sled, Cortland. And Derek started driving the 69 for Uncle Kenny at that time, and he's just gone with 69 ever since. Obviously, his dad was 69, so it just makes sense for him. But Corey Grigsby as well. Corey was also 99. Corey Grigsby as well, Derek's brother there. So lots of cool 99s on tap here this week. I got one more, Nate Jans, and I'm sure you're headed for super late model country, so I'll leave this one on the bone for you. But I think there's quite a few 99s to choose from.
There is a plethora of 99s, and I'll save the super late models for last, but I got a list of a bunch of them. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. B99, Ben Leedy, Speedy Ben Leedy. You got to give him a shout out. He ran second in Arklatex this week in the limited modifieds. Mark Underwood Jr., 99 Junior, his limited modified. I'm telling you, there's a bunch of 99s. Yes, I'm telling you. Drake Abear drives a 99. Dustin Durham, the 99X in the factory stock. Hope to see him at Boot Hill Speedway. 99, the front wheel drive, Selby Cook from Florine, Louisiana. Going to 99G, Hunt Gossam, runs up there, UMP Country, won at I-55 this year. And then to go to your super late models to round it out, you got old Frank Heckenus Jr., 99 Junior, out of Frankfort, Illinois. And then obviously the mailman, Devin Moran, your Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series champion from Dresden, Ohio. There's a bunch of 99s. This was one that we didn't have to worry about stepping on no toes on 99s on this one. And then if you want to get in the NASCAR world, Carl Edwards in the Office Depot Aflac 99, that's one of the most for me at least, I say
That was a good one.
iconic cars like those, the Office Depot Aflac 99 of Carl Edwards. That was prime NASCAR for little Cortland. So I definitely watched that one go around the racetrack a lot on a Sunday afternoon. So we didn't have no shortage of 99s this week, my friend. That's all I got to tell you.
I've got one for you. Do you remember Trevor Hunt?
Yeah.
Drove the 99 USMTS modified there.
Yes.
He was 13 years old, ran for Rookie of the Year, and his departure from racing needs to be studied. I don't know what happened to him. It just he took off and left us. I don't know. He was a youngster and was on his way, and we just haven't seen him race. He raced at Boot Hill, I remember, back in I think 13 maybe, but it's been some years. But yeah, I remember Trevor Hunt drove a number 99 as well. So anything else that you have tonight, man? I think that about wraps her up.
Man, I just want to send
tell us what's on RaceON.
Well, I'll get to that, but I just want to go T's and P's out to Brother Fowlks and his family. He was racing at 105 Speedway this past weekend and had a complications pacemaker. Don't ask me to give you the true story. He had to go to the hospital in Houston. He got checked out, so he's back home, but had a scary incident there for a little bit. And on Saturday night when I'm sitting at the house trying to direct as many phone calls in different situations. He was at the racetrack running with the Southern Modifieds over there, and he was over there by himself. So his wife was calling, family was calling, trying to figure out. So I was trying to relay messages. So all the people I reached out to, thank you for responding back to me and trying to get information out. But T's and P's goes out to Brother Fowlks. Everything seems to be okay, going to get it situated, but had a scary incident there at 105 there for a hot second. So T's and P's go out to him. For him to get back, I don't know if he'll get back in the race car anytime soon. I know he said that this might be, dude, one of the OGs. Him and Dad were like best buds, would talk all the time. You saw him race the wing mods forever around the Arklatex, won a lot of races. Yep, 44. Daryl's Auto Service. So I don't know if he ever plans to get back in the race car. This might have been the last ride there on that deal. But T's and P's go out to him. But on RaceON this weekend, ain't got a whole lot. But you got the Yankee Dirt Classic at 300 Raceway, Springfield Raceway up in Springfield, Missouri's racing, I-37, 105, Grayson County. The Tom Series is at KSP. And the one that everybody should at least tune in at some point this weekend, the King of the Hill, Boot Hill Speedway, 10 grand, the original 5-figure payday for the factory stocks. It's going down. You know you're going to want to watch it. And luckily, me and you get to be a part of it again. And I'm excited, man. I'm fired up about it. The other day, I think it was Sunday, I was sitting on the couch and watching the NASCAR race, and that the little hype video got shared out there. And I watched it thing about 5 times, and like I got goosebumps on my arms, man. Like I am absolutely ecstatic to roll into Greenwood, Louisiana, and just blessed to be a part of the King of the Hill, but also we're blessed as our region again, to go back to it, that we get to race some bombers. Like we're just racing some old bombers for 10K, boys, and we're gonna get after it as good as any type of racing you'll see out there in the country. So all eyes, you're going to be tuned into Boot Hill at some point in time this weekend. There's a lot of other great options on RaceON as well, but I know me and you, that's where we'll be this weekend, and excited about it, man. 3 days in Greenwood, Louisiana at Boot Hill Speedway. You can't get much better than that in life.
Yeah, this weekend was another one of them weekends where I had a couple of places that I could be, obviously. I mean, Boot Hill is my home track, but I did have the opportunity to go up to Tri-State Speedway to announce for the ARMS and the Heartland Modified Tour at Tri-State in Pacola, Oklahoma for the Larry Phillips Memorial. And, it's tough because I've called like 10 King of the Hills, right? So it's like you want to say yes and take an opportunity. I think it's like 75 to win, but Larry Phillips just got inducted to the NASCAR Hall of Fame. We know what Terry Phillips means to us, specifically even here around the Arklatex. Terry was a legend, but man, you should hear some of the stories from Doug Ingles sometimes about Larry Phillips. They were really good friends, and I know Billy Moyer had a lot of cool ones as well, but that's an event that I would love to make. It happens to fall on a weekend that I'm committed to Boot Hill, right? And it's a bummer. Like I have these happen all the time to me, and I rarely come to the pod and explain to y'all and tell y'all, but yeah, I mean, it's like on October 2nd and 3rd weekend, right? I've told y'all a couple times, right? I've got World of Outlaws at Boot Hill, my home track, and it would make sense, but I've got the opportunity to go announce for 4 nights from September 29th to October 3rd at Lucas Oil Speedway again for the USRA Nationals, and also have the chance to call at Texas Motor Speedway if I want. You know what I mean? That's 3 big races, and man, I just wish that I could be all 3 places at once. It doesn't mean that I want to be at one of them any less. I want to be at all three of them, I think, just as much as the other. And that's what makes it really tough. But eventually I'll be where I'm going to be, and I won't think about the other ones until I watch the highlights later on and say, damn, I wish I'd have been there, so it happens. And it's good to be wanted. And so I will say that I'm very thankful for that. So, it does get tough sometimes on this side of the fence, but I try to make the best decisions, and I hope I don't hurt anybody's feelings or that somebody doesn't take it the wrong way, that I don't take the opportunity to be at their track, because it does mean a lot. And I hope that the opportunities continue to come my way, because maybe eventually I'll get to say yes, But anywho,
wait, hold on before we roll out of here,
okay,
because you did make the Facebook post. I ain't gonna say you got to pick a winner, because we got to stay professional on there.
That post
car
got
count,
some traction.
It did. Car count over under 90. What you got?
I'm gonna say
put it at 90.
I'm gonna say under this year. I would like to shoot over, but if I'm being a realist with you guys, I'll take the optimistic route and I'll say over. But if I'm being a realist, I'll say under. Okay. Just because
will we see a new winner?
We had 82 last year. Year. Weather was a factor. We had to come back and make the event up, and we had 59 showed back up for the makeup, which isn't a good gauge of what we should probably expect this week. I think the weather looks pretty good. So
weather looks sporty. But I ain't saying we got a cold front, but we're not 102. Yeah. We're like a high of 93. You know what I mean? That's going to feel like a breeze.
That makes a difference. That makes it does. And on the track prep crew too, right? For Bubba and Rollo, may not have to pour 1,000 gallons of water on it every day. I don't know. But what else? Sorry.
Oh, I was just going to say, will we see a new winner?
Yes. Dalton Faulkner will win the King of the Hill for the first time. Damn, I'm not supposed to say that, but see, that's unbiased. I'm just shooting in the breeze. I really have no idea who's going to win this race. I'm just saying yes because it sounds fun. I don't know who's going. You know what? Dalton Dubois is going to win the King of the Hill. He's going to burn the house down.
Digging Dubois.
My bad. I'm going to turn back around. Dakota Wyatt is going to win the King of the Hill.
Come on.
Saying, nobody knows. We don't know. I would just say Faulkner because it sounded fun. I just want to answer your question. Go ahead.
I had this stat down, and then we can get out of here, because Lord knows we said we're going to keep we said the last two we're going to keep under an hour, and we just keep on rambling. So your last 4 major factory stock races at Boot Hill, the winner has came from the first 3 rows. So obviously that Friday night passing point's pretty important. We've seen guys make the Super Run and make the A main, but obviously in the first 3 rows, you set yourself up on Friday. Who will be the number 1 point man? That doesn't mean that they're going to win the race, but obviously set yourself up good. Who's going to be the number 1 point man? This is the one that really can go everywhere. This is the one that is really, you never know on that number 1. So who do you got possibly going to be the number 1 point man?
Craig Pursley Jr.
CPJ.
Yeah, I'm going to take
Craig. Come on back.
He's been fast.
He has been fast.
And he's good at Boot Hill, and I think he's really determined, like he really wants to win this race. And it's a possibility it could be any other 90, to 100 guys. So I don't know. I'm going to say CPJ.
CPJ. I like it. I was just hitting you with a couple.
What about you?
Before
what do
we
you think?
Out of here. What do I think? High point man? Cause
I think Colby Mewborn could do it too.
Colby Mewborn could do it. But I'm going to tell you right now, I might have chose Vic Case over him earlier, but Jamie Burford will be number 1 in passing points at the King of the Hill.
That's pretty good.
Hey, I'm just saying.
JB. This is going to be my final thing. I really feel like Mason Martin's going to have his coming out party this weekend. I don't know what exactly that entails. I think he's going to lead laps maybe. I think that he's going to be, if he hasn't already had his coming out party, right? Like, I'm not here to say that this weekend's going to be. I think he's on the map for sure. But I just feel like he could really win this race. I really feel like this is the best he's ever been. And I just feel like Mason Martin is tired of kind of playing second fiddle to Jeffrey. I mean, I know that he doesn't probably look at it that way.
It's the running joke.
I don't look at it that way. Yeah, but I think that he's just ready to say, you know what? Put some respect on my name. Give me old Eminem to make some noise this week.
Eminem.
Yeah.
I like it. I like it. Hey, because like I said earlier, I can't be more excited about rolling into Greenwood with you. I hope a lot of other people are feeling the same exact way when they hear this podcast, and maybe they're on the way to Greenwood, Louisiana, but it's going to be a whale of a time. The King of the Hill. It is an event. Hey, it is something you need to go see.
And by the way, folks, the RaceON Facebook page is still down. So if y'all could give us some help, like if you were coming to Boot Hill, share it out there on social media and let people know you're watching the broadcast, or let people know you're enjoying yourself, because we can't post right now. We can post from the Boot Hill page, but we can't post from the RaceON page. So,
locked out.
Anyway, yeah, we're locked out. Thanks a lot, Thanks a lot, Mark Zuckerberg. But that's all I got. And man, thank y'all for hanging out with us to the final whistle. This has been episode number 99 of Clark After Dark. Episode 100 coming up next week. Be blessed and be a blessing. We'll see you from the King of the Hill.
See you.